up, BFFs? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Shalitha Maxine and you are officially a BFF. So I'm back with another tutorial, and of course we are cleaning her face with Dr. Wellness Pore Cleanser. I am starting her off by using Giovanni's Facial Prime and Setting Mist, which is fresh rose water and aloe, and this is just to refresh her face, refresh that skin, wake it up. Of course, I'm going to prime her with my favorite NARS Pore and Shine Control, and I'm applying that with a foundation brush. Now I'm using Absolute Slim Brow Pencil in the shade Smoke, and this is how I do my brows. I'll just be briefly showing you guys how I do my brows. For all the new subbies, welcome. I do have other videos where I go more in depth about how I do my clients' brows. Definitely want to mimic the hair-like strokes in the beginning of the brow to give it more of a natural feel and avoid that boxy brow. I started off showing products in the beginning, but then I just fell flat because we started talking, so please forgive me. Of course, you guys know I will be listing all products down below. So starting with my 1, 2, 3 method with her brows, I am using a lighter shade on the tail and more of a medium shade for the beginning of her brow until they meet. And of course, we want to make sure that it's nice and sharp. I'm using my MAC 252 brush, which is super duper flat. I'm thinking about doing a video about how I get my concealer brushes flat. If you guys would like to see that, please let me know in the comments. We're gonna buff that concealer out, pressing it into her lid. We're doing a subtle matte look, so we definitely want to make sure there are no streaks at all. We want to make sure those lids are as smooth as possible. She has a whole lot of lid space, so we're gonna take full advantage. So I concealed the top of her brow, and now I'm just buffing it out even more. This is the third and final shade, which of course is the darkest or the closest to my client's complexion. And after you go ahead and carve out the top brow, you want to make sure you buff that out. Reduce all harsh lines, no harsh lines. Make sure that is super duper buttery. So I did pick up my NARS Soft Matte Concealer, and I just wanted to highlight that brow bone a little more. This is in the shade Caramel, and I'm just going to be going over the brow bone, just giving it an extra highlight. Of course, buffing it out. Goodness gracious. Of course, buffing it out like I always do. I'm using my P.Louise Rumor Base in the shade 0.5. I want our colors to be, you know, vibrant, so of course we're going to go with the lightest base possible. I don't know what my 0 is, but I did pick up the 0.5 for this one. Now I'm doing my transition shade, which is like a muted orange. This is probably my favorite transition shade. I do this on virtually every eye. I love the way the colors work on top of it. It just works for me. Now I'm using a brownish reddish shade in the Morphe 350 palette, and I'm putting that right in the crease, packing that right on. As you guys can see, I'm patting, not really swiping, but patting. I went back with that transition shade just to kind of bring that transition color back. When you're applying your shadows, to get the best color payoff, patting is the way to go. The windshield wiper motion is good with blending, but for me to really pack that color on, patting is the way to go. And I'm doing like almost like pressing it into her lid to really get that color to show up. And I do it until I'm satisfied with the intensity. Now I'm picking up a even darker brown, and I'm going to put that right on top of the crease color. This will be my base shade, which is like my third shade for the base of the eye look. I went back in and applied that P.Louise Rumor Base because the final color that we're using is super duper bright. It's like that pinkish tannish color, so I want to make sure I get the best color payoff possible. I'm using that brown shade just to kind of bring that color back. I lost a little bit underneath that base. Going in with my M433 brush, I picked up this tannish color. It's coming up white, but it's more tan. Again, this is in a palette that has yet to be released. I'm hoping to release it soon, so I cannot provide any details on this specific shade, but the Morphe 3503 palette has a color similar to that. I think it's the only color in that palette. But I'm packing that on. When you're doing matte shadows, again, you want to pat. When you swipe, you can get a very chalky, almost like patchy kind of result. So the best way to achieve that soft, almost blown out look would be to pat. I took a clean blending brush and I'm just softening up the edges, making sure I diffuse it so it's nice and smooth. Again, picked up that brown to do the same exact thing as I did before, kind of bring it back. Now I'm using my Wet n Wild liner to draw her a winged liner, but of course I'm using my Sephora brush because this brush always works best for me. Lately I've been struggling with wing liner and I don't know why. I think I'm overthinking it too much, but I was not satisfied with this liner, and as you guys would see later on, I will be putting glitter because I did the liner a little too thick for my liking. I'm just sharpening it up using some concealer to clean off the edges, making sure it's super sharp. Picked up my Milk of Magnesia, and I know this is probably outdated to some, but this works great for my oily clients, so I'm still going to be using it. So I'll just put that in the zones that she's most oily. Now I'm using my Juvia's Place shade stick in the shade Benin. I think this is Benin, yes. And my Black Opal foundation stick in the shade Toasted Chestnut as my second shade. And then I'll be using, I believe I'm using NARS in the center of her face. Yes, I'm using NARS in the shade Belem Iguacu. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I am packing that in for my 1, 2, 3 method. You guys know, spraying her down with continuous setting mist from Morphe, and that's just again to make sure I break up that consistency. I'm using cream and liquid, so this helps to make both of them blend seamlessly. Using my Real Technique Instapot brush, of course. This is my go-to brush for my clients. It's kind of weird because I don't use this brush on myself. I like the old-fashioned foundation brushes for myself, but for my clients, baby, this brush is everything. I picked up a damp beauty blender, and I'm just making sure I go over all the areas that I have already, blended together. This is to take off any extra oils, any excess oils that the foundation produced. Now I'm using a concealer that's about 3 shades lighter than her skin tone, maybe 2 to 3 shades lighter than her skin tone, for the outer part, for the corners of her mouth, her chin, and her forehead right above the eyebrow. And then I'll be using a lighter shade, maybe 1 shade lighter than that, directly underneath her eye. And this is to give her an appropriate under eye highlight. And I also use that for the bridge of her nose because we need noses snatched all 2020. Using my blending sponge, my beauty blender, I am buffing everything out on the forehead, and for under the eye, I'm using my Real Techniques setting brush, starting with the edges, of course, and you'll see me going back and forth between the brush and my beauty blender to get that smoothness that we all love to see. I thought I put the clip in there that I was using my beauty blender, but I guess you'll see that later on. To contour her face, we are using Black Opal's foundation stick in the shade Black Walnut. And of course, we're going to do the hollows of her cheeks, her jawline, nose, and forehead. I'm using my e.l.f. highlighting brush to buff that out. I wanted to use my Real Technique brush, but I was like, well, let me try this because it works when I set it. So let me see how it looks, to just blend it out. And I'm very satisfied with the results. So this is probably what I'll be using from now on to basically blend out the cream contour. There you go, beauty blender. We were looking for you, sis. So I'll be using that underneath the hollows of her cheeks because I want that contour to be really, really pronounced. Not harsh, but just I need it to show up. And I'm using a blending brush to buff out her nose contour. Now I picked up my Sacha Buttercup with that damp beauty blender, and I'm applying her setting powder to all the areas that we highlighted. as you guys know, I don't bake anything but the cheek contour and the nose. And I'm sorry, I didn't even realize that my hand was blocking the view for the nose. I'm gonna get better with this, guys, bear with me. So I'm using my Kiss Lash Glue to act as the adhesive for my glitter. This black glitter is NightLife by Max Lux Studios. I really love this glitter because it has like hints of silver and it's just kind of like a holographic black. I love it. And that's what we came up with, and I'm actually really happy with that glitter liner. Now I'm using NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk, and we're going to be doing a pigment underneath her eyes. She wanted like a little pop of something, and her dress is actually an army green, so I was like, okay, well, I have this cute little loose pigment from MAC, which is called Golden Olive, and it has hues of gold, but it is green. And I'm using my Inglot Liner 77 and this pointy pencil to go ahead and put that on her waterline and underneath her lashes. I'm using my mascara to make sure she had like little strands of her individual minks left on her eye, so I wanted to use my mascara, make sure I mate the two because they were just sticking out. Now I'm using a blush, of course, from BH Cosmetics to blush her. Y'all know I love blush, and I'm using my blurring brush to smooth out any under eye creases or wrinkles. I'll be using that all over her face. Again, picked up my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, and now I am pressing that setting mist into her skin. And I like to spray throughout the process because this helps the makeup last a lot longer after she leaves. So that's why you'll see me spraying a few times. Using a makeup cloth to go ahead and wipe her lips off, and now I'm bringing that contour back. I actually use the Zulu palette, the brown shade, to bring that contour back. Now I'm using my I use my Becca Set Refresh translucent powder to set her under eye. I'm using MAC's Chestnut Lip Liner to line her lips, and I am using Ardell's matte whipped lipstick in the shade Tender Ties. And we're going to be doing a cute pinkish nudish gloss lip. Y'all, I don't know, like my clients really love these lips, and I do too, so I think the next look I'll probably try to do a red lip or something different. But this works for my clients. This is a very popular lip. And I just threw on some clear lip gloss on top. Regular clear lip gloss. And I also used the Laura Geller Hydrating Lip Gloss in the shade Sunbeams, which has like little specks of glitter in it. And y'all, I always go back and revise my client's skin. Skin is everything to me when it comes to makeup. I need that makeup to be like buttery smooth. So you'll see me constantly picking up that foundation brush. I don't put any extra products on my brush. I just use whatever's up there to kind of reinforce that foundation. Now I'm using the Laura Geller highlighter in the shade Sunbeams. Are they both in the shade Sunbeams? Now I'm looking. Oh wow, yeah, the lip gloss is Sunbeams and the highlighter is Sunbeams. And I'm putting that, of course, on all the areas that we highlight: bridge of nose, the apples of her cheeks, the tip of nose, chin, and forehead. Yes. And we lost a little bit of blush, so I'm just bringing that blush back. And this was my boo's graduation. She's actually going to law school, or in law school. She had a graduation today, so this is something that she trusted me with, and I absolutely love the outcome. So tell me what you guys think. Do you guys love this? I freaking love it. And she was like almost about to cry. So I was really happy with this look and with her skin in general. I just loved everything about it. Gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Give me a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.